lack of bus drivers. Speaking of which, we have the Seoul city government deciding on how much to mark up the city's bus and subway fares as well. Hae-jung, tell us how much we're going to be paying now.
Right. Long story short, for those living in Seoul, starting August, you'll have to pay 1,500 won for bus fares, and starting October, you'll be paying 1,400 won for subway fares. Of course, there are slight differences in the fare increase depending on how far you travel, the routes you take, and how late you travel, and if you pay with cash. But for basic fares being paid by transportation card, this is a 300 won and 150 won mark up for the bus and subway fares respectively, which is about a 24% and 12% increase. The city's transportation fare adjustment committee met today to review proposals for hiking public transportation fees, including subway and buses. This adjustment plan was prepared after a public hearing in February and Seoul City Council's opinion hearing in March. And this is the first public transportation fare increase in Seoul in 8 years and 1 month since June 2015. The city has been consistently stating that a maximum increase of 300 won is necessary to compensate for fare losses due to free riders and to ease the deficit of Seoul Metro. So the city had initially planned a subway fare markup of 300 won in April to cope with growing transportation budget deficits. But in line with the central government's stance to stave off rising living costs burdening households, the city had put off the hike plan to the second half of the year. Now, previously, the city analyzed that raising the fare increase by 300 won would reduce the 3-year average transportation deficit forecast spanning from 2023 to 2025 by 316 billion won, which is about $245 million for subways, and 248 billion won, roughly $192 million for buses.
It's interesting that buses are more expensive than subways nowadays, but I mean, again, it's one of those things where we are getting very good quality subways, and they're bleeding money. They need to somehow make up the losses, right? We also